Meta Church, how you guys doing? Yeah. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. If you're new with us, my name's Clayton. I'm so glad that you have joined us. Today I have a message for you called, Where Does It Go? Where does it go? This is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be less of a sermon and more of like a family conversation. So if you are new with us, just know that this is going to be a little bit different than what I would do most weekends. But if you are a part of the movement, you guys know that week after week, we very unapologetically remind you and ask you to invest in what you believe in. And you wouldn't be a part of something that you don't believe in. So if you're a part of the movement, you believe in it, and we ask you to help us fund it, to help fund what we're currently doing right now to make a difference in our world as a part of the movement of Jesus, as well as to help us move into whatever future God has for us. I am a huge believer in transparency. I try to practice it as well as help others practice it from the stage. We're not up here to pretend like we have it all together or like we are the spiritual experts trying to help you get caught up. We're all struggling through life together. We're all jacked up. We all have our own things that we're working on. And by the grace of God, we're coming together and leaning on Him and getting through some stuff and getting better. But we'll never get there. We're never going to arrive during our time here on earth. And it's important to remember that. We have to lead with transparency. And one of the areas that the church in general has not done a good job at this is in the area of finances. So you're out there, you're working hard, you're on your grind, finances can be tight. We know and talked about this at length last week that many people are struggling with their money. We're taking steps to get better. We had over 40 people at Financial Peace University. Put your hands together for them. They're taking a huge step in stewarding their money well, thinking differently about it, managing it differently. And on top of all that, every week you come, and here comes the pastor telling you to give more money, to let more money come out of your bank account, to give it to this thing. And we just want to spend some time today in transparency, talking at a high level about where does it go? What am I really giving to? And so here's what we're not going to do, because frankly, we don't have time, and it would put most of you to sleep. There's a few of you who would care. We're not walking line item through line item of our budget today. That's not what we're doing. Now, with that being said, we do have a goal to start a habit, or you could even call it a tradition at the end of each year, to try and put out a yearly report where you can go through and actually see line by line what we're spending our money on. We want to be that level of transparent, and that's a goal that we have to get in your hands. There's nothing hidden. We're not trying to keep anything from anybody. What I want to do today, though, is I want to talk on a high level of where your money is actually going, that you're trusting God with, and that you are trusting us with here at Meta Church. And so from the beginning of Meta Church, we have tried to be really careful when we talk about the movement and delineating between the movement and the organization. And it's difficult because it's not like they don't affect each other. The organization is what organizes all of the things like the service you're sitting in right now that help push the movement forward. But the reason that we get so clear and that we talk about them separately is because over the centuries, it has gotten very blurry. And what happens when it gets blurry is that people start confusing the organization for the movement. They start confusing the form with the function. And we've actually seen a lot of churches who end up prioritizing the organization over the actual movement. The movement is not about place. It's not about a business. It's not about a service or a program. The movement is the people. You are the movement. You are the church. That's what we talk about over here. And when we confuse the movement with the organization, a 501c3 not-for-profit business that is incorporated in the state of Texas called Meta Church, when we confuse those, we get off track. When we prioritize the organization over the movement is when you start seeing religious leaders who start making decisions through the lens of control, who start communicating in ways to look after the bottom line instead of letting the bottom line being looking out for people who don't have somewhere they can call home and who don't know the hope of Jesus. And so we try to stay really clear, because when Jesus started the church, the movement that we're a part of, he didn't file with the IRS. It wasn't a business. It wasn't a place. But at the same time, he also spoke permission into us as his followers to organize the movement and execute on this movement in the most effective way possible. And so the first aspect of where does it go that I want to talk about is operations. What it actually takes to operate Meta Church Incorporated, which is a staff of people, which has policies and procedures, best practices, rules and regulations, financials and budgets. That's the organizational side of that. This is what actually stewards the money that you bring to the table. In this series, we are asking you to consider viewing your money and managing your money with a biblical perspective in mind. It's important to me that you know that we are doing our best to do the same. In Luke chapter 14, it says, "For which of you, wanting to build a tower, doesn't first sit down and calculate the cost to see if he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, after he has laid the foundation and cannot finish it, all the onlookers will begin to ridicule him, saying, 'This man started to build and was not able to finish.'" We have laid the foundation of Meta Church. We're very young. We're just getting started. And I have to tell you, I feel the weight of mismanaging this, of moving forward fast but not with wisdom. I don't want to get to the end and not have completed the project. I want God to use us to our highest capacity. And so following after Jesus hard, it takes courage and it takes passion and it takes purpose, but it also takes wisdom. We try to be really wise with how we're stewarding your money. And things just happen to cost money, and some of it's obvious. Sound equipment and lights and renting facilities and overseeing a staff and keeping databases so that we can keep track of people and their needs and being there throughout the week for people who need counseling and care and who are sick in hospitals and showing up for people when they actually are in need and want to see their pastor and speak to them and get a good word and running different programs and overseeing life teams and managing hundreds of volunteers. There are things maybe you haven't thought about before, like liability insurance. Liability insurance is incredibly high for churches because, I know, it's hard to believe, but some churches have done some really bad things. Some churches have made some grave mistakes. Some churches have abused money in really, really bad ways. It's really, really expensive to get liability insurance for a church, and then they find out that your services are surrounded by 1,000 bottles of liquor. Do you know how difficult it was to even get someone who would cover us? It costs money. Really, at a minimum, it takes about $20,000 a week to run Meta Church. We figured out how to do it at around 15 or 16. We're using what God has given us, and we're trying to do it the best that we know how. Part of my transparency is going to be a little bit uncomfortable. I have to let you know that Meta Church on the operations side defies like every church statistic that there is. And what I'm about to share is not going to sound super positive. And I just need to say up front that the purpose isn't for guilt or to create a weird feeling in the room. It is for the sake of being honest about where we're at and where God has us. And we're going somewhere with it because God's using it. But having been in the church world for a while, working with a lot of other pastors of other similarly sized church, we defy all of the statistics. We perplex people. Statistically, we operate on an annual budget, what we actually bring in from our offerings, that is about 3 to 4 times smaller than an average church our size. I have coffees and lunch and stuff with quite a few pastors. The closest I have found to us has literally double our annual budget. Most people at some point have looked at me and just asked, "How do y'all do this? How do you actually make this work? How are you pulling it off?" Our staff, we have 8 full-time staff members here. Statistically, they say for every 100 people, we have 1,200 people who come. For every 100 people, you need 1 full-time pastor. We have 4 full-time pastors for 1,200 people. Next time we're slow to answer an email, just understand we're working on it. We pay our staff on average $20,000 less than the average for a church our size. I mean, just think about it. You have someone as talented as Celeste. I was a worship leader in the church world for a while. She could triple her salary tomorrow going somewhere else. It's where we're at. We defy these statistics. People ask, how do you get staff to stay? You're paying them horribly. How are they staying? They can't figure it out. They've got people knocking down their doors at their church with 4 times our annual budget trying to get raises. And we have staff full of people who are well aware that at any point they could take their same skill set to a different church, do half the work, and increase their pay significantly. And yet, we defy all the statistics. Because in those same conversations, I've learned something. I've learned that at Meta Church, number one, we know how to stretch a dollar. We know how to do ministry in ways that blow other churches' minds. We know how to get people who have never stepped foot inside a church or haven't been back in for 20 years, who are young in their faith or still don't believe, from different faith backgrounds, agnostic and atheists, who didn't grow up in a culture where you just automatically hand over 10% of your money to the church all of the time. We know how to do that. And because we are defying the statistics on the operations side, we are also defying the statistics on the movement side. Let me give you some statistics that we're blowing out of the water. In the church world, they say, if you can get 20% of your people in a small group, it might take you a few years, but if you can hit close to 20%, congratulations, you have won. You're a rock star in the church world. In the first year of our life teams, we have over 40% of our adults attending a life team, serving in our community, and it's only growing from there. In the church world statistics, they say if you baptize one person for every 10 people, you are on another planet. You're out of this world. Like, your ministry is so potent if you're baptizing 1 out of every 10. In the last 2 years at Meta Church, we have baptized 1 person for every 4 people that attend here. We're blowing it out of the water. We have a staff full of people who have left money on the table. I know we're asking you to sacrifice every week. I know we're coming up and asking you to give. The people who are serving you here on this staff have left money on the table. They have put their money where their faith is, and they are here and they're staying because they see what God is doing and they believe in it. They want to be a part of it. I went to a conference one time and I sat through like the weirdest breakout session. Like, I wasn't paying attention, so I just wandered into one. And here was the whole point. For like an hour, this is what we talked about. You'll never grow a church. You won't get over 50 people to show up. If you don't have pristine, sparkling, eat off the floor, fully stocked, smell good restrooms. Maybe we have found the only 1,200 people who know how to breathe out of their mouth and not out of their nose when they need to go. Listen, we got people who want to be a part of something. They're coming into something that's a little uncomfortable at times. The air conditioning isn't always working by the 12 o'clock. Sometimes the bathrooms are overflowing. It's not a great environment. It's not the perfect, but we have people who want to be a part of something. And so, yes, we defy the statistics. Yes, we have people who are coming in unchurched, new believers, baby believers, growing spiritually, don't believe yet, but still belong to this movement, still go to life teams, still come in. We're growing in number, we're growing spiritually, we're actually growing in our generosity, and we are living proof that if you will submit to the movement, prioritize it first, hold on to it with everything you have, that God can take a little and do more with it than if we had a bunch on our own by prioritizing for control and trying to prop up an organization. We serve the God who took a few loaves and a few fish and it multiplied and it multiplied and it multiplied. And we're seeing that. We're just seeing so many lives changed. And I'm not settling into these statistics. Like, I don't buy the lie that just because we have a lot of young believers that we're not going to bring in money. I just don't believe that. I believe God can do anything. I'm actually not really okay with underpaying my staff, and as we grow, I do plan on fixing that. I plan on paying them what they're worth. But for now, we're doing what we have to do to continue to move. And it's important to me that you understand, I'm asking you to do really hard things in this series. I'm asking you to view your money differently and manage your money differently. And it's important to me that you know we're trying to do that as well. That we're trying to be frugal. Most of our money is just spent on useless crap that we don't need, that we throw away after 6 months. And it exists in the church world too. As soon as you put pastor in your occupation on Facebook, you get the marketing for all the latest and greatest stuff that the church world has to offer. But we just believe we don't need the latest and greatest to see people's lives change. We don't need to be spending money recklessly. We need to be loving recklessly and preaching recklessly and empowering and including recklessly, but not spending recklessly. We're frugal. We ask you to be prudent. We try to spend with the end in mind, with where God is growing us. Because of that, we have prioritized things. Everything is through the lens of doing whatever it takes to get people to Jesus. We believe that looks like a new building that has more room to reach more people. We believe it looks like multiple locations so we can reach people in different parts of the city and different parts of the world. Because of that, we've done everything we can to create margin, to build up our savings, to be financially healthy so that when an occasion arises, we can rise to that occasion. And we want to be generous. We've asked you to be generous and we believe in it. And as an organization, a staff of people who are giving our lives to this, we actually want to be generous along with you. And this goes, where does it go? Part of it goes to operations. Part of it you can see. It's the lights, it's the sound, it's the stage, it's the building, it's the people, it's the staff, it's the programs. But part of it is also movement. And we're asking you to move, and we believe our organization should move. We've asked you to be generous, and we believe as the organization that we should be generous. We want you to know where your money goes. We made the decision that we would create margin. We would do everything we could to not just spend it all up, but to save it. And because of the margin we've created, we've been able to exercise generosity this year in ways that honestly we didn't know were going to be possible. So what we decided to do in our giving, the same way we ask you guys to give to the organization has decided to give. And we give not to a lot of people a little bit of money. We decided to give to just a few people as much as we could. So we're not going wide and shallow. We're going narrow and deep. And at this point, as an organization, we're going to give to one local and one international partner. We've been doing that for the last couple of years. And I want you to know where our money, your money that you're giving here has actually gone and what it's actually done. Our local partner is called The Vault. If you don't know about The Vault, they support and resource foster and adoptive families. What happens, especially for foster parents, is you sign up and go through the process, and then you sit and wait, and you don't know what age you're gonna get, you don't know what gender you're gonna get, you don't know when they're gonna call. Sometimes they call you at midnight, and they have a placement, a child's been removed from their home, and they need somewhere to go immediately, and the chances are you don't have everything that kid needs. You might have been anticipating a toddler and end up with an infant. You don't have the right car seat to even get them back from the CPS worker, and so this is where The Vault steps in. They allow people who don't feel like they can say yes because they don't have the resources to say yes because they resource it for them. Recently, we went to The Vault and spent some time with them so that you can see a part of where your money goes.
I decided to foster this year. I've been taking all my classes last year, and I'm single and taking on that adventure by myself. I have no kids prior to fostering, so I had no experience at all with kids in my household, and I had no idea what I was in for. I took my first two boys in, ages 6 and 4, and I had nothing. And I didn't know that I was gonna have nothing. You don't realize, they kind of tell you in advance that when you get a placement, you don't know what's coming, you don't know who's coming, you don't know what they're coming with.
I became a foster parent in 2014, and I was expressing that my biggest concern with fostering, or like the scariest part to me, was the financial aspect, the financial burden that it could potentially be. Would I need a crib? Would I need a twin size bed? Would I need infant car seat? Would I need a booster seat? I wasn't sure, and I wasn't really sure if I would have the resources to go out and buy that stuff within a couple of hours. In conversations with other foster parents, I realized that I was not the only person who had that fear. Talking with my co-founder, we really felt like there's a simple solution to this. We can house items for families that are getting placements, and they can just have a one-stop shop where they come and get what they need and they return it for another family to use when they're done.
I was texting Rachel, who I'd found on social media, and I was texting her at my very first placement a few hours before they were coming in, and she said, "What do you need? How can I help you? How can I come alongside of you and support you?" And my response was, "I have no idea." I didn't know until they got there what I needed. And it gave me a lot of comfort and security to have Rachel and the fostering community behind me at my very first placement, knowing that whatever I needed, they were gonna show up and have.
So the families that we serve, both foster families who are stepping up to take care of a stranger's children, or kinship or safety plans, basically those people just get a call saying, someone you know or someone in your family is having their children removed from them, would you be willing to care for them? And they find that out hours before they drop those children off at their home. We exist so that families can confidently say yes to something and not be worried about, but I don't have what I need to say yes. People often ask, what is our biggest need? And honestly, our biggest need is financial. We are completely volunteer run and we have no paid staff, and that sometimes presents availability issues where we don't have people available as often as we would like to help our families. Our goal is to try to raise enough money so that we can pay full-time staff to be here, available to our families when they need us.
Fostering is terrifying. You have no idea what you're gonna get or who you're gonna get, and really fostering is just your ability to say yes. So to have the fostering community, to have Rachel there every single time I've gotten a placement, every single time I've had questions, every time I've wondered, am I doing the right thing? Can I do this? They've always been there.
Meta Church has really stepped into this space with us and partnered with us, and we are so grateful for the impact that they're making, not only to our organization, but to these families who show up day by day by day, needing our resources. On behalf of Vault, we want to thank you for all of your financial donations and all of your prayers.
Over the last couple of years, we have been able to partner with the Vault. And let me just pause and say, when I say we, I hope you understand that I mean we, our movement, Meta Church. How many times do we have to say, you are the church? I just needed you to know that when you give, you are providing resources for families who are taking in the most traumatized and vulnerable people in our society, bringing them in their homes. You're allowing people to say yes. A few months ago, because of your generosity, because we're doing our best to manage our money with biblical principles and have created this margin, the Vault ran into an issue. They moved to a new, bigger location, but their lease was in jeopardy because of a very strange code issue. They were having to raise money very quickly, and if they couldn't come up with it, then they were going to lose their lease, which means they wouldn't have the storage to hold all of the supplies. It was a very difficult situation, and we were able to stand in the gap as their partner, and we were able to give them the money that they needed to stay in code and keep their place. This is the kind of impact that you're having in our world. We also have an international partner called Together for Haiti. Right after the 2010 earthquake, I was able to be on the ground in Haiti, and it really stole my heart. I fell in love with the people, with the country, and with the ministry that I got to be a part of over there. Over the years I've been back, I'm actually not sure how many times, somewhere close to 10 times, and we have partnered with Together for Haiti. Recently we sent a team over there. My wife, Katie, who is our social impact coordinator, Pastor Tony, as well as Marco, who's our media director, they all went over there so that you could get a glimpse of the impact that we're having in Haiti.
It's a beautiful country. The people are warm and hospitable and loving. They want something better. They want their country to improve, but they struggle because it feels, at least to them, that the system is sort of rigged against them.
Most of the resources, maybe all of the resources, of Haiti, it's only 5% of the population that get it. So really, 95% don't get anything.
Education is a difficulty. Access to the education and then the quality of what they have access to is lacking in a large part of the country. There's a lot of corruption that exists at every level. And the Haitian people are very aware of all of those things, but they don't always feel like they have the mechanisms in place to respond to those things in a way that brings resolution or brings a solution. What the people need is what Together for Haiti is trying to do: tools, training, opportunities to take initiative for themselves. And it was John Leake's vision to see people develop a true and meaningful relationship with Jesus, and to see education become a foundation for the people of Haiti.
As a ministry Together for Haiti, there is one component in our ministry, we call it economic development. We try also to create opportunity for the people that cannot go to the bank, that is not qualified to do anything. We are helping them to be able to help themselves.
One of the things that we are very passionate about, because we're very passionate about promoting self-sustainability for Haitians and really putting the Haitians first in all of this, is we want to be sure that anything we ask Americans to come do, we're asking them to do something either that's going to benefit the Haitian people, that can be done alongside the Haitian people, and not something that's going to take away from the Haitian people.
What we are doing Together for Haiti is not something that we do it ourselves. So we need other partners. We need other people to come and to help us. I really believe that when you give to Together for Haiti, the money that you're going to send will help change the life of our people here in Haiti. With the vision that God gave to us, please come, and then we can do it together. I would like to take that opportunity to thank you guys, all of you from Meta Church. You contribute in what we are doing in Haiti, and we really appreciate that. All the money that you give really make it very easy for us to do our ministry in Haiti. So we want you to know that we love you and we thank you for your help and your support. May God bless you.
So we are monthly partners with The Vault and with Together for Haiti. And every month over in Haiti, your money is being used to further education, to scholarship kids, to provide meals within the schools, to take care of orphanages, do teacher training, pastor training. You're making a huge difference. This summer, we learned about a project Together for Haiti had this great opportunity to buy everything you need to start a well drilling business at a hugely discounted cost. Now, apparently, even at a hugely discounted cost, this was still a very expensive business to start. But the prospect was so exciting. It would be a Haitian-run business, which would bring employment to people who are desperate for work, and it would be bringing clean water to villages in Haiti where they don't have access to it. Now, Danny, the president of Together for Haiti, actually didn't call us about it. He knows about us. He knows what we have going on. We give every month, and they appreciate that. He knows that we're trying to get qualified for a loan for a bigger building down the road, and we need all the money that we can get inside our bank account so that we look good to the bank so that they will give us the loan that we want. And so we didn't come seeking additional money, but we heard about it. And several people on staff, Katie and Pastor Tony, Pastor Bobby, they followed a prompting. And what I didn't know is that they had to make a decision by the last Sunday of August. And that Thursday night, they were considering whether or not they were going to have to pull the plug. There was just too big of a gap. What they didn't know is that Friday morning, I took the staff's wishes and prompting to our board meeting, and we unanimously approved buying the drill rig for for $35,000 and closing the gap that they needed to launch the project. This is the impact that you guys are having. There will now be a business and people working in Haiti because of the contributions that you're making. There will now be Haitian children who have clean water who didn't have it before. When you give to this movement, you're affecting more than just buying lights and setting up a stage and paying a staff salary. You really are making an impact in the world. So where does it go? It goes to the operations. But the operations, we do everything we can to make every decision through the lens of the movement. To not just create spaces to meet, but to actually push people out, to move together, to make an impact in our world. The last piece that we felt like was missing from Meta Church was someone who had their full passion and full attention on how we're interacting within our city. We hired Katie this year as our social impact coordinator, and she's really changed the culture here at Meta Church. We went from maybe serving occasionally here and there to having our life teams, almost all of them, committed to going to different partners in our city who are doing different kinds of work to make a difference and to bring hope to people. We now have people consistently serving all the time, all over our city. If you're in a life team and you're not serving, you know Katie because she is emailing you and will continue to email you till you find somewhere to serve. And I'm married to her and I have lost enough arguments to tell you, you're not gonna win this. Just sign up to serve somewhere. And it's a beautiful thing. And so what we've done today is right out here on our porch through our cafe, we have some of our partners right here in our city that we want you to know about, we want you to get involved with, we want you to exercise your generosity muscles, we want you to get uncomfortable and to give your life away, to live and love like Jesus, to give your time and your energy and your resources together. We want you to know that this movement matters and that you matter to it. We want you to know that your money goes to us, but more importantly than that, we're doing everything we can to submit it to God. And if we continue to give it to Him, and we continue to move, we're going to continue to see amazing, amazing things happen. Would you guys pray with me? God, we love you. We thank you for all of our partners all throughout our city, different nonprofits and ministries and charities who are doing incredible work. I pray that we would continue to join with them and continue to see just your fingerprints all over what's going on in this city and around the world. We love you, and we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Our partners, as well as the Vault and Together for Haiti, are out there on the porch. You guys have like 12 minutes. If you want to go out there before you pick up your kids, you're welcome to do that. You're also welcome to get them. We got snow cones and stuff out there. But I love you guys. I hope to see you here next week. Thanks for joining us today at Meta Church Online. We would love to know how God is using this ministry to affect your life. If you have a story about how God has spoken to you through this online platform, we would love to hear about it. You can send an email to info@metachurch.tv. We would also love for you to partner with us financially to help us continue to expand what God is doing through Meta Church. You can do that very easily at metachurch.tv by clicking on the Give button. You can give a one-time donation, or you can set up to give recurringly and to continually support what God is doing. Every time you give, you invest in eternity. We hope to see you here next week.